Hey, we're the last, and thanks for all waiting patiently to the end. We're going to keep it short as well. I'm Anne from City Plot. This is my colleague Suzanne. We're going to give a little presentation about the work we do. City Plot is an urban farming collective with lots of different organizations, and we're a lot of people that love to do composting and seed saving and food growing and preserving our food in the city. We are all pretty much convinced that the current industrial food system is a mess, so we're trying to create change.
Okay, and I know that a lot of you are growing things on your own, so can I have a show of hands? Who is growing their own food? That's fantastic. So that's about 60%. Okay, so we believe that everyone, even without a garden, can grow their own vegetables, herbs, berries, or edible flowers. And we're trying to promote people growing on their balconies, on their rooftop, Kefil towns, as Lynn was talking about, and community gardens. And even if you don't have any of those things, you have a windowsill at least. And I know some people here who are growing tomatoes on their windowsills and eating them every year. They don't even die away in the winter. They just keep coming back. So there's a lot of possibilities.
Okay, so what we do is we give lots of different workshops and consultations and different tours around the city, trying to work with as many people as possible. And the workshops range from things like composting with worms. This is our worms over here that joined us this evening. To growing things in boxes like those. Those are some pea plants that I started on my windowsill at home. They suffered a bit during the ride. They were all standing up very happily at home, but now they're getting a little tired, I think. We do growing and eating edible flowers. We do a lot about soil, how to build healthy soil in your garden. And then some things like growing your own pesto. And this is a growing your own tea garden workshop that we did last year with Jenny Axie-Kelly, who's not here tonight, which is too bad because she's also a wonderful herbalist in Amsterdam, and we did a lot of work together with her and them last year, but she's moved out of the city.
And in our workshops, we combine theory and practical work. And these are some people learning how to transplant seedlings from a little box like that and into pots and on further. And this year we're mostly giving our workshops in Wester Park, and we have a couple of different indoor and outdoor spaces to learn. And we'd encourage you to come and sign up on our sign-up sheet over there if you want to learn more about what we're doing.
So that greenhouse, just to go back, that's Natasha? That's Natasha's greenhouse that you saw in the previous slides. So we've also given some really nice workshops in that.
So last year we were using Natasha's space to do some of our workshops.
So those are the worms again. If you don't get a chance to meet them later, that's what they look like. They're wonderful little creatures. And we do encourage people to use, turn their food scraps into this really wonderful rich compost by using worms. And we run a workshop that teaches you how, it lets you get to know them, to handle them, to know how they reproduce, and how to create a perfect balanced ecosystem for them. And then you make a worm hotel, a multi-level worm hotel, and get a bunch of worms and you put them home and compost. So we love doing that, and we love addressing people's problems that come up with, all kinds of critters and interesting things. So that's one of our favorite workshops.
And this is our garden. This is our educational garden in Wester Park. This was set up with the help of Natasha, who you met earlier, and City Plot together. We set this up, and this is a garden that's just 1 year old, and we started it with just in the winter with just mud, and then we actually collected a harvest at the end of the year. And this is we're going into our second year. And you're all welcome to come and visit, and we can give you a tour, and some of our workshops will be held there as well.
And this is a nice garden because we set it up in very small beds. There's 10 different beds, and each one has a different theme. That is something that you could do if you have just a small bit of land in the city. So there's a permaculture bed, for example, edible flowers, there's a river of herbs in here as well. There's a culinary herbs plot, there's a seed saving bed, children's garden. verplanten.
And one of the things I want to address, the lady who was in the back, is that we are giving quite a lot of children's workshops here, and we're going to do our best to actually work with children directly and not just the parents. So that's a good thing we should discuss probably later, how we can do that.
Okay, one thing we started doing last year is trying to make connections between all of the different, not all of them, but some of the different community gardens in Amsterdam, because there's a lot of them now, and organizing bike tours where you can go learn from each other and exchange information. And we tried to make little maps of what different community gardens are in different neighborhoods, and whether there's a place for people to come and garden there as well. So what we hope to do is also next year to encourage people in these community gardens to plant a river of herbs or a tributary of the river of herbs there as well.
And last year we started working together with Lynn, and we have actually got a tributary in our garden, and this is a course that we do, well, a workshop called Embrace Your Weeds, and we're teaching people that weeds are not just these pesky things that you have to get rid of, that they actually have a lot of uses in the garden, and you can not only use them for medicine and eating, but you can also use them in your garden as a manure in your compost, and they bring up nutrients from the soil. So there's all sorts of things, and hopefully one of the things that we are trying to do is to make that connection, that wild plants and weeds are good for the garden and not just something, not your enemy.
So I'm just going to show 3 of the plants that we have in our little river of herbs, because our river of herbs in the educational garden, which is called the louse dripping or the curious finch. What we did there is we focused on plants which are really useful for gardening, so they're things you actually don't want to pull out, you want to leave them there and use them. So that's comfrey or smearwort, which is a really wonderful herb because the roots go very deep into the soil and bring up all kinds of nutrients into the leaves, so you can use them as mulch and to make a liquid fertilizer. It's also wonderful. It's a wonderful bee plant. Bees are always all over the comfrey. And it's also a really great, Jules can attest to this, he's still here. It's a fantastic herb to heal gardening wounds. We, every once in a while, have minor problems with shovels or something. And if you use a comfrey leaf, it really helps to relieve the pain. So that's one of our most valuable garden herbs. There's many plants. I think there's probably 20 different plants in our little river of herbs that are useful for gardeners. But this one's yarrow, or a blood, which is great for activating your compost. So if you throw a few leaves into your compost pile, the composting will happen faster. Also great for insects. And it helps other plants in the area and are planted around it to grow strong and healthy. And then this one, probably people recognize. It's also useful for dyeing things, but multifunctional plant, most people try to get rid of it very quickly because it can sting badly. It's also delicious to eat, but beyond that, it's great to have in your garden for lots of different reasons. And we make a really stinky, smelly liquid fertilizer, our fear with that, and water the garden with it. So that's our little river of herbs, and we'd love you to come take a look sometime.
Yes, so finally we at City Plot are going to organize some free river of herb training this spring, and Yolanda, who you saw doing the photographs here, she's going to help me in New West, and Anne and Val, I don't know if Val is still here, she's gone, but anyway, Anne and Val are going to do it in West. So, and you can sign up for that as well at our table. So thank you very much.